welcome back to my YouTube channel. So what we are gonna be doing in this week's video, a subscriber requested that I react to more scary and the scary cartoons. So that is what I'm gonna be doing today. So with that being said, let's go straight into the video. Internet. I already chose one.
It all started when I was 8 years old and we had just moved to Michigan. One night, my older brother and I were playing video games on our old PlayStation 1. In the middle of our session, I got a little bit thirsty and headed to the kitchen to get something to drink. When I was walking to the fridge, I noticed this odd, small shape in the woods outside, but I figured it was just a tree stump and thought nothing further of it. So I grabbed my drink and went back to play with my brother until bedtime. In the middle of the night, though, I woke up to the sound of crunching leaves. The little 8-year-old me was immediately scared. I remember my heart was pounding so fast. I got out of bed, pulled aside the curtain and stared into the woods, but all I could see was the same shape that I'd seen earlier that night. Eventually I managed to calm myself down and went back to bed. The next morning when I woke up, I thought that I'd probably just had a bad dream. I'd soon learn just how wrong I was. I went downstairs for breakfast and poured myself a big bowl of cereal, but just when I was about to take the first bite, I suddenly felt sick. I could feel the hot puddle of drool in my mouth and my stomach twisted like it'd been tied into a knot.
I will not eat that.
I rushed to the bathroom. When I threw up, all I could see were slimy and green things. I hadn't eaten anything bad. In fact, I had barely eaten the day before. There was nothing I could think of that could be causing me to retch like this. My mother walked in to help me clean up and then took me to see a doctor. The doctor ran a couple of tests on me, but the results showed nothing out of the ordinary. He told us to just wait a couple of more days and see if it would pass. Luckily, it did. The following few months were calm and free of any strange incidents. Then my cousin came over. We were playing on the trampoline in the backyard when I felt sick again. This time it was a bit different though. I didn't throw up. I just felt really sick and anxious. I went to my mother and told her that I wasn't feeling well, and she said that I probably just needed to eat something to feel better. Eventually my cousin went home, and the day was perfectly normal again, until I went to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of crunching leaves. I looked towards the window, and what I saw made my stomach drop. It was a woman's figure. I couldn't move at all, and my chest and right arm were hurting so badly. I somehow managed to finally find my voice and screamed as loud as I could. My parents burst into the room. My mother called 911 while my father stayed with me, trying to comfort me. At that point, I think I just fainted. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a hospital bed. I ended up staying for 2 more days until I had properly recovered. Then years passed, and that strange woman didn't appear again. Around the time I turned 16, my family had to move to New York due to my father's job. On the day we were supposed to leave Michigan, I was finishing packing up my room. All of a sudden, I felt that strange wave of nervousness course through my body again. I immediately spun toward the window and froze. There she was, the same woman I had seen years ago. She was standing there in a long torn-up dress in the very same spot and looking directly at me, except in the daylight I could see her face better. She had no hair and was missing both eyes. Just like when I was 8, I couldn't breathe or move at all. I heard my mom calling my name, but I couldn't answer. Shortly after, she knocked on my door. As soon as she entered and saw me having a seizure on the floor, she screamed. Then, something really strange happened. When my father ran in, having heard my mother scream, she was looking out the window and said to him, "Don't call the cops. She just wants to play. Give her a chance. My mother stopped caring about me and kept repeating the same phrase over and over again. I thought she'd gone crazy. But by the time the police arrived at the house, she had stopped repeating the words and was like my usual mom again. I was
Wow.
rushed to the emergency room and got an MRI to see if I had brain damage or something. But they told me that my brain looked perfectly healthy. We moved, and I thought that that would be the end of all that. A few years later in New York, I had found a job at a local store. I was just about finished with my night shift and about to lock the front door when I suddenly felt like someone was watching me. Turned around and the woman with no eyes was standing right there. It had to be a nightmare. It just had to be. I passed out almost immediately. I didn't even have time to scream. When I woke up again, I could see flashing red and blue lights. The emergency technician said that my heart had stopped beating for about 60 seconds. The woman with no eyes hasn't appeared since then. Maybe she thinks that she finally managed to kill me. Yet, I'm still alive.
Wait. Well, I mean, I know it's something fake, but like, that different boy. I can't even sum up words to explain. That, whatever, let's continue.
In my senior year of college, me and my boyfriend at the time lived in an off-campus apartment on the third floor of this big old townhouse. And the mudroom/closet area right by the door was where we kept our cat's litter box. Now, most people can tell you that unless it's right after your cat uses the box, it doesn't smell like poop. Usually just the cat litter smell. Clay, Febreze, whatever it is. So for about a week, I noticed it smelled like death in that little corner. And I tore the area apart and the rest of the apartment looking for rogue turds, but found absolutely nothing. Then right in the middle of the mystery stink ordeal, I had to leave for a week to go on a work trip. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a welcome break from what was massively a disgusting little problem. And I quite openly hoped that my boyfriend might get the whole thing fixed before my return. But to my horror, it only got worse, with my boyfriend texting me one night with the bad news that the smell seemed to have spread into the hallway outside. I felt bad for him, but there was nothing much I could do other than advise him to just call the landlord and see what she could make out of it. He says okay, and he'll call her in the morning and keeps me updated on everything that happens. The next morning I'm getting texts off of him like every 20 minutes, stuff like, just called landlady and she's on her way. Then I get stuff like, she thinks it's coming from another apartment. Then, okay, it's definitely coming from another apartment, which I was kind of relieved about, but oh my god, was that jumping the gun, because things were about to get way worse. The last text I get is, she just called the cops. I reply with, please don't tell me someone died next door to us. Then my boyfriend starts typing, but then stops. I go into full panic mode, trying to work out what it might be, because I can't face the thought that our neighbor actually died. And we were living next to a corpse for like weeks, and partially because we were the jerks and didn't check on her. Then after about an hour, my worst fears are confirmed. The landlady gave some cop permission to bust the door down, and when he did, my boyfriend said he and the landlady literally ran from the sight that greeted them. Our neighbor's dead body was lying there, face down in the hallway, with one arm out like they were reaching for the door when they fell. That piece of hallway ran perfectly adjacent to our mudroom, where we keep the cat's litter tray, which is why it smelled the worst there and out in the hallway. The whole time I've been thinking to myself, frickin' cat, shaking my head and scrubbing the floor. And there had been a dead body just on the other side of the wall, not even 2 or 3 feet away. We always keep up with our neighbors now, even if they're more than capable of looking after themselves. Having that network,
I
that kind
feel
of
bad now.
community, you don't realize how important it is until it's far too late.
Alright. What went on here? Just a sec. Right. I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. Like, the fact that you were living next to a dead person all these years, well, weeks, I should say, and you don't even know, that's like one of the fears I have. Like, I am afraid of, like, especially in apartment buildings, like, it have an apartment here and one right here, and you don't even know what's going on in the next apartment. Like, somebody could, just in the same video here, somebody could dead, like, you don't even know what's going on, and out of nowhere again, this stench, that is one thing I fear the most. Besides, right after fears of heights, frogs, spiders, and so on, blah, 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 and so on. So that video was, it wasn't scary, but more like interesting. But anyways, that's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What I should react to next. DM me or comment if you have any ideas for me or what I should do. And I plan on making a second channel where we're doing like cooking challenges, like cooking on this budget and so on. So with that being said, make sure to switch over and subscribe to Radish Plays and Rasha Clinton. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Enjoy the day and see you in the next video. Salam here.